Peace, infinite waters, diving deep once again. Beautiful deep divers. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see you. We got a whole lot to talk about, deep divers. How's everybody doing today? Shout out to everybody in the chat. And as you can see, we got the whole live stream set up real good, deep divers. We're having a good time. We got the headphones on. Urgent deep divers. HR6666. Your worst nightmare is coming. Wake up. Oh my gosh. Let me send you some good ass energy, deep divers. Take that, take that, take that, take that. I'm just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Now, deep divers, if you don't know what HR6666 is, you are going to know after this video. You are going to know why the planet is in a state of emergency. And you have to realize you have to take back your power. You have to grab back your freedom. Otherwise, it's not going to look pretty. Even the cat down the road knows that. And we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello? Marinka, thank you for the offering. I appreciate that. Now, deep divers, we've got a lot to talk about. I hope everybody in the chat is going good. So let me just get straight to it, deep divers, okay? Let me just get straight to it. You're probably asking yourself, what is HR6666? Deep divers. And HR666, wait a minute, 666, okay? No coincidence, deep divers. HR6666 is the bill that is being passed. They want to implement it. HR666, COVID-19 testing, reaching and contacting Everyone Trace Act to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities such as contact tracing through mobile health units and as necessary at individuals' residences and for other purposes. So, deep divers, I want to remind you, that's very serious. In other words, let me just break it down. With HR6666, they basically want to go into people's homes and remove people who they feel may have COVID-19. Right? That's kind of crazy. That's kind of intense, deep divers. That's what it's about. So you have to make sure, like I always told you, deep divers, you have to make sure that you are realizing being free is your birthright. This is your last chance to make a stand. Otherwise, your worst nightmare will come true. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We're just warming up. So I told you, deep divers, this is George Orwell's 1984 coming back to the planet in 2020. And in that book, 1984, George Orwell wrote, "Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. War is peace. And that's what's happening right now on the planet. Everything is reverse. Everything is in reverse right now. And they are taking away your freedoms. Youth, I appreciate you. They are taking away your freedoms. Now, shout out to everybody who's been diving deep. I want you to realize, deep divers, the severity of what's actually going on. Dr. Michael Ryan, who is he? The executive director of WHO, Health and Emergency Services. Okay? Michael J. Ryan, executive director of the WHO, which is the World Health Organization Health Emergencies Program. Okay? So, very, very important figure. Now, let me read to you what he said. Pay very close attention, deep divers. The most likely person to become a case is someone, and he's talking about COVID-19, okay? The most likely person to become a case is someone who has been in significant contact of another case. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner. So that's what I was saying previously. Okay. This fella here, thank you. No, I appreciate the offering. Okay. This Michael Ryan is very, very important because he actually told you what HR 6666 is all about. And once again, HR 6666 is the bill that would provide, okay? It's the bill that would provide, deep divers, 100 billion in grants to faith-based organizations, clinics, medical centers, and other organizations which perform testing for COVID-19, tracing of exposure to COVID-19, or services for individuals who are isolating at home. Okay? So, HR 6666 is coming around the corner, deep divers. And Michael Ryan told you, okay, this was a few weeks back, he told you that COVID-19 is transmitted in family homes more. So let me just read it one more time. The most likely person to become a case is someone who has been in significant contact of another case. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now, we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner. So that's what I was saying previously. So, deep divers, I want to remind you, That's what's happening right now. So you have to be aware of what's going on. And you have to remind yourself, deep divers, like I told you, don't think that when you wake up tomorrow, the world will be the same. No, you will have one less freedom. You will have one less freedom. And deep divers, I want you to remind yourself, this is your last chance to make a stand. Because when they put out the mandatory vaccinations, deep divers, it's over. Okay? When they have the ID 2020, it's over, deep divers. When they have the nano chip, it's over. So don't let it get to a state of emergency. Because right now, it's approaching a state of emergency. Shout out to everybody in the chat, deep divers. I hope your day is going good. So with the HR 6666, they want to violate your freedom. They want to have the rights to come into your home, and they can just remove you from your house, or they can remove a family member. And if you don't do anything, that's going to be a reality. Okay, so this is extremely, Miles, I appreciate the offering. Extremely, extremely important. Once again, deep divers, I told you, you are the power. And we have to learn that right now, we got to take back our power. We have to take back our power. I'm just warming up, deep divers. I hope your day is going good. But I had to do this live because I want to remind you. I want to remind you, deep divers, of something George Orwell said, okay? Take back your power, humans. Power is in tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. Big Brother is watching you. Let me repeat it one more time. Power is in tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. Big Brother is watching you, okay? George Orwell wrote that. I appreciate the offering. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. Deep divers were just having fun. Okay, so George Orwell wrote that. And if you realize, deep divers, Big Brother is watching you. And not only do they want to watch you, they want to go inside of your house and remove people at will. And this is what HR 6666 is all about. And if you don't do something, shout out to Riza Islam, okay, who has the petition going on. So you can sign the petition. A link will be down below after this live stream. But you have to make a stand now. Otherwise, your freedoms will be taken away. So let me just read one more time what George Orwell said, deep divers. Let's read it. Okay, this is what George Orwell said. Power is in tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. Big Brother is watching you. Okay, so that's what power is, deep divers. Is tearing human minds to pieces and putting them together again in new shapes of your own choosing. Big Brother is watching you. Okay, so you have to remind yourself, deep divers, right now, it is time to take back your power. This is not about being afraid, okay? I always say, deep divers, let love guide you, not fear. Tamika, I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody. Deep divers were just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. I want to remind you, deep divers. Ralph Smart said, let love guide you, not fear. Okay? Now, a lot of people are in fear right now on the planet. And this is what you don't want to be in, because fear is the lowest vibration. It's the lowest frequency. You have to make sure you are not in fear, deep divers. Now, what did Osho say? Fear is the antithesis of freedom. Everybody you have come in contact with has been imposing fear on you, because fear is the antithesis of freedom. The more fear you have in you, the less is the possibility of freedom. The more fear is there, the less is the possibility of rebellion. Okay? So the wise words of Osho, very powerful. The more fear is there, the less is the possibility of rebellion. Now, let me go back to that. Part of HR 6666, which is them having the right to come to your home and remove someone who they feel may have COVID-19, is also part of the control, which is also part of the tracking app, which is in a lot of European countries. And what you see right there, this is what they want to make the new normal. So if you don't do something about it, this is what your children are going to have to deal with. Okay? Children are going to be staying at home all day, in quarantine, wearing a mask. So, deep divers, I want to remind you. You have a chance right now to make sure your worst nightmare does not come true. But it's all about you realizing you got to take back your power. It's all about you realizing that the only reason why they can do this is because people are acquiescing. Okay, what is acquiescing? People have given up their freedoms to other powers. People have given up their freedoms to fear, news stories. You wake up scared. This is the lowest frequency. This is what they want you to be on. Deep divers, I want to remind you. Ooh, let's do the little 360, baby. This can be your reality. You see, this is what a lot of people don't realize you can wake up to. Okay? So remind yourself, deep divers. you can do a little 360 every single day. You can take back your power every single day. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I hope your day is going good, deep divers. Remind yourself you can take back your power. You know, right now, humanity has to wake up. Right now. How's everybody doing in the chat right now, deep divers? So, like I told you, deep divers, make sure you aren't in the fear vibration. Make sure you are in the love vibration every single day. You don't have to be scared because the universe is working in your favor every single day. I want to remind you, deep divers, there is a great awakening happening. There is a tremendous awakening happening. And this great awakening won't be stopped. It can't be stopped. Because so many people, deep divers, are opening their doors to new realities, opening their doors to a new mindset, opening their doors to a new vision, opening their doors to a new world. And this is why it is the Great Awakening. How's everybody doing in the chat? Deep divers, once again, we're live streaming. And I got a whole new setup, deep divers. I got a whole new setup, live streaming. And that's another thing I want to tell you, deep divers. You got to be able to step up the game. Upgrade, baby. Shout out to everybody diving deep. I want to remind you, deep divers, with HR 666, like I told you, HR 666, COVID-19 testing, reaching and contacting everyone Trace Act to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities such as contact tracing through mobile health units and, as necessary, at individuals' residences and for other purposes. So, with that being said, I want you to realize the time we are living in. It's a grab for power. And you have to make sure you are taking back your power. Otherwise, you will have none left. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Where's the petition? I'll leave a link below. Deep divers, I made a video, and you got to check out the other new video I made. Stop keeping quiet and dying with your song. Philip Jackson, I appreciate the offering. The great Wayne Dyer said, don't die with your song still in you. Tien936, I appreciate the offering. The great Wayne Dyer said, don't die with your song still in you. I can sleep real good at night, deep divers, because everything I'm saying, I'm not afraid to say. I'm not holding anything in. I'm not suppressing my emotions. I'm speaking my truth even if my voice shakes. Even if I'm looking a little bit shaky, baby. But a lot of people are dying with their song still inside of them. A lot of people have dreams, they have visions, and they go to the grave with them. Me, I've manifested everything, and I keep manifesting. So make sure, Mickey, I appreciate the offering. Make sure you are somebody who doesn't die with their song still in them. You see, I told you, deep divers, in the new video, the great paradox is that the more you give, the wealthier you become. What? Slow motion this side. The more you give, the richer you become. So make sure you don't die with your song still inside of you. Because in this matrix, most people die at 21 and don't get buried until 75. Don't let that be you. Shout out to everybody diving deep once again. Once again, deep divers, I'm here to remind you that you have to be able to think for yourself every single day. You have to be able to think for yourself. You have to be able to form your own narrative about what's going on. Because if you don't, you will believe whatever they want you to believe. You see, right now, deep divers, a lot of people aren't believing the mainstream narrative. Tamika, I appreciate the offering. A lot of people are not believing the mainstream narrative. A lot of people are waking up, their third eye is opening. And this is why I told you, deep divers, this is the way out. The only way out is in. When you start to meditate, when you start to go on the journey within, deep divers, everything changes. Instead of just listening to what other people have to say, deep divers, you start listening to yourself. And this is how you're going to free yourself. This is how you're going to wake up from the nightmare. By going on the journey within every single day. You see, deep divers, I want you to go back. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see you. I want you to go back to when you were a child, deep divers. When you were free, when you were limitless. There were no rules, no boundaries, no borders, no limits. In other words, you were a true co-creator of your reality. And I want you to remind yourself, deep divers, you have to always be a co-creator of your reality. I want to remind you, deep divers, you have to be player one in the game. I want to remind you, deep divers, instead of worshiping these celebrities, you have to remind yourself that you are a star. I always tell you, deep divers, you got to be the star of your own show. Because when you realize that you are a star, you take back your power. Right? You take back your power, deep divers. I want to remind you, deep divers, that reality is never final. Reality is always changing. Reality is focus. Your reality is also your attention. So remind yourself. People always ask me, Ralph, will there be mandatory vaccinations? Absolutely not. If that's not in your reality. If it is in your reality, deep divers, if that's in your reality, absolutely yes. If you are full of fear, absolutely yes. If you believe that that's the only solution, absolutely yes. But deep divers, if you are in nature, you go to the ocean, that does not have to be your reality. If deep divers, you're watching the northern lights, aren't they so beautiful? That does not have to be your reality. So I want to remind you, we are only seeing less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum. Less than 1%, in fact, only 0.035%, which is called visible light. So the way out of this great pandemic, or as I call it, plandemic, or as I call it, great panic, is to realize what you see outside of yourself is the biggest illusion ever. The world's greatest lie. It's the illusion. The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy went behind the curtain. She thought it was some powerful person behind the curtain. And then it was just an old bloke, overweight, useless. She realized he didn't actually have any power at all. Then Glinda the Good Witch told her, Dorothy, the power has been with you all along. What? Slow motion this side. So it's the illusion of power. That's what humanity is dealing with right now. You feel people have power. They don't have any power. You've given them your power. And right now, we've all got to take our power back. I told you, deep divers, when you have an understanding of how reality works, nobody's coming to get you. Nobody's after you. Because the cabal, I appreciate the offering, Sarah. Thank you. 777. The cabal, deep divers, is your shadow. It is humanity's shadow. And you have to remind yourself, when you are working on your shadow, when you integrate your shadow, you realize it's nothing to be afraid of. I hope everybody's day is going good. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We're just warming up. And if you're just joining, like I told you, deep divers, this is HR 6666. Your nightmare, your worst nightmare is coming. Unless you wake up right now, humans. So I told you. HR 6666 COVID-19 testing, reaching and contacting everyone Trace Act to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities such as contact tracing through mobile health units and as necessary at individuals' residences and for other purposes. So I don't feel you really know the enormity of what I just read out. So if you don't do something about this, in the next few months, you might get a knock on your door and someone can say, hey, we need to carry out a test. Have you been tested? So, like I always tell you, deep divers, being free is your birthright. But if you don't protect your freedom, you will have none. If you don't fight for what you want, deep divers, you will have to cry for what you've lost. What? Slow motion this side. You see, it just got incredibly real, deep divers. I remember actually watching it when, like I told you, Dr. Michael Ryan said, who is the executive director? The executive director of the World Health Organization Emergencies Program. What did he say? The most likely person to become a case is someone who has been in significant contact of another case. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them. Highlight, deep divers, and remove them. Let me say it again, and remove them. And isolate them in a safe and dignified manner. So that's what I was saying previously. So you have to really be aware of the words that are coming out of his mouth and remove them. And this was said weeks ago. So you have to remind yourself, deep divers, this is your last chance to start waking up, to start really being assertive, to start really knowing your power, standing in your power. This is your last chance. Shout out to everybody diving deep once again. I want to remind you, deep divers, every single day, like I always say, you got to rise up. You got to rise up in the Great Awakening. You got to rise up with the sun, baby. Because this is the truth. I always tell you the power of sun gazing. Okay, the sun can heal everything. When you are rising with the sun, you're raising your frequency, you're raising your vibration, and you are letting go of all the control that is in existence. So this is where you need to be. You need to be in front of the sun, by the ocean, and you won't be affected with what's going on the planet. When you learn that you no longer have to give your energy to the beast. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Shout out to everybody who's been rising up. If you are in nature today, deep divers, shout out to you, right? It's all about rising up right now. So remind yourself, deep divers, like I told you, just like in the film The Matrix, you have a choice of which pill you're going to take. The red pill of truth or the blue pill of ignorance. The red pill of truth is saying, hey, I need to know what's going on. I need to free myself. I need to make sure my family is protected. I need to get the right information. I need to boost my immune system. That's the red pill. The blue pill is saying, hey, forget about it. Just go back to sleep. And now you're in ignorance, and you'll always be controlled in ignorance. You'll always be controlled in ignorance. So I told you, deep divers, 7-day vegan challenge. These are the solutions. If you really want to rise up, you have to make sure you are eating to live every single day. You have to make sure that foods are your medicine every single day. I told you, we already know that vitamin C deals with the coronavirus. Make sure you're eating foods high in vitamin C. Oranges, watermelon, plums, apples, limes. This is the foods you need. And of course, a whole bunch of grapes, deep divers. Strawberries as well. Blackberries. This is how you rise up, deep divers. This is how you rise up. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Once again, deep divers, I'm sending you good energy. I want to remind you that, okay, I see it. Shout out to you in the chat. You said 666 scares you. In yesterday's live stream, deep divers, we spoke about 369. Okay, Nikola Tesla said, study 369 and you will have the key to the universe. 369. I was born on March 3rd at 3:03. I'm 33. 3 is a magic number. That's why the universe works in my favor. I'm always going to be protected, deep divers. Don't worry about me. Then you have 6. Okay, 6 or sex. We'll come to that later. Then you have 9, which is the number of completion. So when we talk of 666, see, in the Matrix has a very negative energy attached to it. But if you are awake, you realize 666 only means the original man. What? Slow motion this side. 6 is carbon. 666. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. But I told you, everything is in reverse in the Matrix. When you see 666, you think it's the number of the beast. No, 666 is the number of carbon. Just go and look it up. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. So it's a very powerful number combination. So when they have HR 6666, okay, that's just to scare people. Because once again, anytime you see 666, you get scared. But what if I told you 666 was just carbon, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, right? Shout out to everybody diving deep. Deep divers, I'm sending you good energy. Once again, it is time, deep divers, to rise. It is time to be the lion once again. It is time to realize there is nothing to fear. Ever been in front of the sun, deep divers? Woo! And you're just sun gazing, and that sun is hitting your face. It feels so good. Feels so good to be alive, baby. There's no fear whatsoever. Because the sun is pure love vibration. There's no time to be afraid. The sun is the truth, deep divers. The sun is the giver of life. It sustains all life on the planet. So you got to be in the sun a lot more than in a dark room watching CNN, watching the news about COVID-19. Oh my gosh! This is the low vibration deep divers. This is the high vibration deep divers. Big difference. And it's always a choice, always a choice. Do I want to be trapped in fear? Or do I want to rise up today and realize there's nothing to fear at all? Shout out to everybody diving deep. Deep divers. I told you, we are so powerful as human beings. When you really know who you are, nobody can stop you. But if you are in fear every single day, you get stuck. Let me go back to what Ralph Smart said. Let love guide you, not fear. Why did I say this, deep divers? Let love guide you. Let love guide you, not fear. Because love is the highest frequency. Let me read you what Osho said about fear. Fear is the antithesis of freedom. Everybody you have come in contact with has been imposing fear on you, because fear is the antithesis of freedom. The more fear you have in you, the less is the possibility of freedom. The more fear is there, the less is the possibility of rebellion. Okay, so extremely powerful. The more fear is there, deep divers, the less free you will be. Okay, so fear is what keeps so many people prisoners. So the only way out of this, deep divers, is to truly make sure you are rising every single day with the sun, making sure you're realizing we're in a golden age. Woo! Making sure, deep divers, you're counting your blessings more than you count your problems. Making sure, deep divers, that you don't die with your song still in you. Right? So shout out to everybody diving deep. I just came here to send you good energy, deep divers. And remind yourself, it's always a choice. It is always a choice. I just came here to do this live stream, deep divers, because I also wanted to test out my new equipment. Right? I also wanted to test out these new headphones. I wanted to give you a message about HR 6666, that you have to make sure you, like I say, we ain't having it. Because if you don't do anything, your grandchildren will ask you, what did you do in 2020, in the great pandemic, or as I call it, the great panic? What were you doing? Were you just silent, or were you speaking up for your human rights? Right? So you want to tell them, actually, yeah, I did do something. And then they'll be proud of you, deep divers. I want to remind you, deep divers, ultimately, nobody can keep you in quarantine. Nobody can keep you in lockdown. A lot of people are in lockdown and quarantine because they have given their consent to be in lockdown and quarantine. So I want you to really meditate on that. That just like in the film Ants, okay, the worker ants didn't really realize that there were millions of them. There was only a few generals, deep divers, but there were millions of worker ants. So we are the majority, because when Z, the ant worker, said, actually, we outnumber the generals, then something great happened. So, deep divers, I'm sending you all good energy. Love always wins. Love always wins. Deep divers. Oh, baby. That's why we're doing the little 360. Because we know being free is our birthright. So, there you have it, deep divers, for the live stream. And that's why I'm just saying, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello? Beautiful deep divers. I'm just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. You cannot hold something down, deep divers, that was designed to rise. What? Slow motion this side. We were designed to rise. That's why I'm rising every single day. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see you. We are the chosen ones. Absolutely. Shout out to everybody who left an offering. Winner for 19. I appreciate that. And like I told you, deep divers, if you want more information, head to Amazon right now. Check out the new book, Deep Divers, for more information like this. Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon. And check out the clothing to inspire yourself. The Good Ass Prana shirts at ralphsmart.com/clothes. And yes, if you are a sexy ass model, woo, with a lot of heart, let me know. And add me on Instagram, Deep Divers at official Ralph Smart, if you got a question. Peace. Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace. You. Now it's at this time, deep divers. If you've got any questions in the chat, let me know. If you got a question, just a little live stream. We had fun on this one, deep divers, and I'm actually enjoying the live streams, because to live stream deep divers is not easy. Like how I'm doing it with all the slideshows. So I'm just getting into the groove of it, and now I'm mastering it, and it's fun to do it. Okay. The link to the petition, I'll put the link. I told you, deep divers, it's not just a petition that you need. You have to make sure that you aren't contributing to what's going on by handing over your freedom. You have to make sure, like I said in the new video, and if you haven't seen it, go and watch that new video. Stop keeping quiet and dying with your song. A lot of people, Mickey, I appreciate that. A lot of people are dying with their song still inside of them. You want to make sure you have your song out in the open. That's a secret. Speak your truth, deep divers, even if your voice shakes. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Ariel, I love you. How did you enjoy the live, deep divers? How did you enjoy the live? You know, I got these headphones on, so when I'm speaking, it's kind of weird. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Good energy to all deep divers. Once again, deep divers, if you've got a question, let me know. You loved it? Wonderful. That's what it's all about, deep divers. I'm just showing you that I learned how to live stream, and this is all about, once again, letting go of limitations. I learned how to live stream just a few weeks ago, right? And now we have a whole show. And this is the power of just knowledge. You see, remind yourself you're a co-creator. But you do have to remind yourself, deep divers, now is not the time. Now is not the time just to be silent. Now is not the time just to be quiet. Now is the time to make a stand for what you know is right. Otherwise, you're not going to have any freedom left. Otherwise, they're going to take all your freedoms away. So make sure every single day, deep divers, you realize right now it's all on you. It's all on you to say, hey, I'm going to be a contributor to standing up for my freedoms. Sarah, I appreciate that. Stand up. What did Bob Marley say? Stand up for your rights. Don't give up the fight. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Can we avoid getting microchipped? That's a great question. Deep divers, absolutely. Absolutely. You can avoid getting microchipped. You see, if you realize, deep divers, if you realize this, deep divers, I told you, nobody can make you do anything without your permission. That's what this is all about. This is the obedience experiment. And it showed that people will obey authority if told to do so. And this is the new form of the obedience experiment. I call it Simon Says, right? LB, I appreciate that. One love to you. You have to remind yourself to get out of the experiment. You have to say, I'm no longer participating in the experiment. Because if I tell you, hey, you need to be in lockdown for the next 18 months, uh-oh. If I tell you it's going to take 18 months before we find a vaccination, now all of your power is in someone else's hands. So you have to take back your power. You have to realize nobody can microchip you without your permission. Nobody can vaccinate you without your permission. Muhammad Ali went to jail because he didn't want to fight in the Vietnam War. Once again, he knew his rights. So remind yourself, deep divers, get out of the experiment, be free, make sure, like I told you, make sure every single day, oh baby, you are rising with the sun. That's a secret. That's the secret, deep divers. Make sure you rise with the sun every single day. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Reclaim your power, absolutely. Once again, deep divers. Oh, I like that, Monica. We are not our body. Absolutely. I like that, Monica. Let me go back to that comment. We are not our body. We are merely in our body. What? Slow motion this side. Monica, I had to slow motion that one for you. We are not our body. We are merely in our body. Fantastic. Once again, deep divers, remind yourself, stay free. That's what it's all about. Deep divers, I'm sending you good energy. Have a beautiful day. And like I told you, I'm just warming up. I'll see you tomorrow. Check out the new video as well on YouTube, deep divers. Don't die with your song still in you. One love to everybody. And thank you, deep divers. You are appreciated.